I went to the morgue. On my way, my mind was racing. How could I trick them? I knew Jinn are easy to fool. When I got there, I turned on the lights and waited. Eventually, they approached. I told them everything Zahra had said. They said, "There's no other way. 5 of us will go, and the 6 will stay in your house with your sister." I froze, sweat pouring down my face. Why? They just looked at me. The 6 had taken the form of a 6-year-old girl. She came with me to my house, supposedly so my sister could watch over her and play with her. All I am is a burden to my sister. Guilt is crushing me. And then we went into Zahra's house. As always, she was lying in her bed. 5 of the Jinns followed behind me and sat down quietly while I sat beside Zahra. The old woman slowly opened her eyes and greeted me. I said, "Zahra, these ladies are my friends. I've told them so much about you that they insisted on meeting you in person." Zahra welcomed them warmly, exchanging greetings and pleasantries. 5 of them just stared at Zahra, not blinking and silent. Suddenly, she turned towards them and said, "My daughters, come closer and tell me about yourselves." They stepped forward, mysteriously approaching her bedside with faint smiles. One of them asked, "How are you feeling? What illness do you have?" Zahra replied calmly, "It's just extreme weakness. The doctors say I'll recover soon." I was stunned. Why would she say that, knowing she didn't have much time left? There must have been a reason. The Jinn became visibly upset. Slowly they stepped back and turned to look at me. Zahra struggled to sit up, leaned against the wall and looked at them. "Are you upset that I'm getting better?" she asked. Then she began reciting verses from the Quran. They let out a shriek and I can't even describe the moment. It's beyond words. I'll just leave it at that. About a month later, Zahra passed away, and the Jinn disappeared as well. That wasn't the end of it. They came back, this time with a request, even stranger and more terrifying. One day, after returning home from the morgue, I saw someone sitting inside my house. I asked my sister, "Who is this?" She replied, "They're here for you." I greeted the figure and asked, "Aren't you going to introduce yourself?" They said, "Don't you recognize me?" In that moment, it was like they entered my mind. A flashback hit me. I saw myself tied to a chair. I swallowed. "What do you want from me?" They replied, "Don't think you fooled us last time. We knew. This time you have to do what we say." I shouted God's name. Their form changed, twisted into something even more grotesque, and they fled from my house. I jumped up immediately, wrote down every prayer and protection verse I'd learned from my grandmother, and hung them all around the house. I sprinkled salt at the door, did every ritual I could think of, just to push the evil out. But still, I couldn't stop wondering, why do they come and go so easily around me? There must be a way in. I went over everything in my mind. What have I done? Have I sinned? Have I hurt anyone? Have somebody cast a spell on me? It wasn't some trivial thing. They could come and go from my life whenever they pleased. I even made a list of all my relatives and friends who might have a problem with me, who might have gone to cast a spell. But then I thought, why am I accusing people? People aren't just sitting around with nothing better to do than curse me. Finally, I decided to visit Haji Mahmud, the village prayer leader, and ask him for help. I went to the mosque office and saw him reciting the Quran. I said, "Hello, Haji." He looked up and said, "Hello, my daughter. How are you? May God give you strength." I said, "I'm sorry to bother you, but..." and told him the whole story, step by step. It took about an hour. Haji stayed silent the whole time, eyes fixed on the floor. After a while, he raised his head and said, "My daughter, I'm sure you've been careful, and you're not someone who brings this kind of thing on herself by sin. This is something else. Think carefully and tell me, have you ever disrespected them or joked about them? For example, did you and your friend ever make fun of them?" I thought for a moment. "No," I said. "I've always been careful. My grandmother always told me never to joke about it. I'm so cautious that even when I pour boiling water, I say the name of God." "Then it must be something else. Give me a little time to look into it and consult my teacher. I'll let you know. Let's meet tonight at your house after the prayers." I thanked him, my heart racing at what he might tell me that evening. Night came. After our prayers, I heard a knock at the door. Haji had arrived. He sat in the yard while I brought tea. Fortunately, my sister was asleep. "So, Haji, what's the news?" I asked. "Did you speak to your teacher?" "Yes, my daughter. My teacher is in contact with these beings, the good and divine kind. According to his investigations and what he asked them, he has discovered something about you." "What about me?" "Listen carefully. One day in the morgue, was there a body brought to you that matches the descriptions?" I'm not gonna say the details here because the children might hear this story. That's too much. "Yes, I remember. It was last year. My daughter, that body belonged to a Jinn-possessed person. You washed it without realizing it was different. Do you know why? Because it was the body of a human who had been taken over. When you were washing it, you saw the strange, devilish tattoos on the corpse. You became angry and insulted the person and the one they followed, didn't you?" "Yes, Haji. The body was so strange. I wasn't gentle like I usually am. In my heart, I called it an infidel and said whatever came into my lips." "That's exactly why they won't leave you alone. The one who commanded that person was powerful, a leader among them, and you insulted him directly." "Oh God, what should I do now?" I cried. "Don't worry," Haji said. "My teacher has given you a solution. The next time you go to the morgue alone, you must ask the being to show itself so you can apologize. If it accepts, that's very good. If not, you'll have to purify the place to banish it. I have already summoned it." Would you like me to continue the story? Let me know in the comments.